Everybody, welcome back to Red Mud Music. I'm glad you could be with me today. I hope everybody had a really good Christmas and a great New Year, and let's hope 2021 is at least a fraction better than 2020 was, but we'll see. Anyway, today what I'm going to do my video on, I'm going to go ahead and continue. If you remember, if you were here then, it was about 3 months ago, I started a series on Led Zeppelin. I wanted to talk about Led Zeppelin and their albums, and I wanted to rank their albums, and that was going to be a really fun process for me. And I was just starting to do that. Actually, I ranked the number 9 album, which was Coda, which I debate if that should have even been part of it because it wasn't a real studio album. It was really more bits and pieces of what they've done throughout their history, through their career, and they just kind of threw it together. But I included it anyway, but it was number 9, so it really doesn't matter. So today I was going to pick up where I left off, and I'm very sorry about the delay. Prince sidetracked me with the re-release of Sign of the Times, and that was just too good for me to pass up because that's one of my favorite albums ever. If you want to see that video, if you're interested in Prince whatsoever, I'll link that above so you can check that out. But anyway, today we're going to go to the number 8 album of all time. And just like before, I'll cover one album per video and kind of break it down song by song, just a few ideas and notes that I made while listening to it, and maybe give you an idea why I ranked it where it is. But today, the number 8 album is going to be In Through the Outdoor, which came out in 1979. Now, this album only has 7 songs, but it's 43 minutes long, which I think is the perfect amount of time for an album. This particular album is a lot different than anything you've heard so far by Led Zeppelin, and the reason for that is John Paul Jones. And the reason for that is because John Paul Jones and Robert Plant pretty much made this album with very little input from Bonham and Page. And the reason for that is Bonham was having alcohol issues. He was battling alcoholism, and Page was battling a heroin addiction. So Jones and Plant would get to the recording studio, and Page and Bonham would be nowhere to be seen. They would show up extremely late, if at all. Jones and Plant decided to get on with it and just go ahead and create the album. So very little input by Page and Bonham. They did perform on the album, but they just didn't have much to do with the writing process. So like I said, I'm going to go through song by song and just kind of give you some ideas of what I was thinking of whenever I was going through the album. Again, it's 7 songs. The first song is called In the Evening. It's a good opener song. It couldn't be anything but an opener song, the way it sounds. The vocals, I feel, are a little unfinished or maybe rushed. The song itself is a little too long, and it just repeats this riff. You could definitely see the lack of the creativity that Led Zeppelin has incorporated in all their previous albums. So they're just repeating the same thing over and over again, but it's got a really nice dreamy bridge, and I love that part of the song. And but by the time the song is over, you're pretty much ready for it. It was just too long. And then song number 2 is called Southbound Saurez. Now that one, you got more repetitive riffs, and they just do the same thing over and over and over again. And you have John Paul Jones playing the piano, and if you remember, he's playing it in like a 16th note, and it makes the song sound a little hectic. You know, it's a great sounding song, and it's very well made, but I think that piano needed to be a little different. Maybe half notes, and then have the bass guitar do like the 8th notes and 16th notes to kind of carry it. But he wanted to carry the song with this piano, and I don't think it really worked. But again, for a simple song, I mean, it's a fairly simple type of music play, and for that, it's good. It's a fine song. Then the third song is actually one of my favorites, called Fool in the Rain. I love this song. But again, you got more repeating riffs, which I think is its weakness. I think there should have been a lot more variations to this riff, but there really wasn't. But the way they keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and then you have that whistle that blows, and then it just does it faster. And for a really good song where you can hear the musicianship and I mean the quality is there and it's really good and it's a really nice sound. You can still hear the lack of being creative. They're just not really being creative. And this album is what I consider the album where they missed a very good opportunity, because I think the ideas that they had here, based on the fact that John Paul Jones kind of spearheaded the music play, it could have been a much better album. But yeah, so the arrangements are good, but again, just being creative wasn't really there. Then you have a song called Hot Dog. That's the fourth song. Now, Hot Dog, I really can't say enough about it in regards to how much I really hate this song. Now, I don't like country, and I don't really hide the fact that I don't like country. But even though I don't like country, doesn't mean that I can't respect and appreciate the musicianship and the music that the talent that goes into it, and the recording process and all that's just great. Just listening to country music's just not my thing. Especially today's country music, it's pretty terrible. They're trying to do this country thing, which, the Beatles did it fairly successfully. Usually it's Ringo Starr that's doing the country songs, like, Act Naturally. And then you have, Rolling Stones did it, and they did a great job with it too. I mean, country was very, very popular during this time. But this one, you can hear the pure sloppiness of Jimmy Page's guitar play. And that's the thing about Jimmy Page. And this may be an unpopular opinion, and please stick with me because I love Jimmy Page and I love what he does. I think he's more of a good songwriter on the guitar than he is a guitar player. If that makes any sense. I think he could have his ability to create a riff is insane. It's very, very, very good. But I think there's a lot of elements that he's lacking that I would like to hear. And maybe it's just my preference. I just think he's a very sloppy guitar player. And there's no finesse there at all. It's just attacking those strings. And sometimes you kind of hear the attack. And but this song, it's like he really couldn't stay with it. And it was real sloppy. Terrible song. I hate Hot Dog. So, bleh. Now, the next song is track number 5. It's called Carouselambra. This is actually a very nice jam with lots of keyboards and bass and a very good sound. The guitar breakdown after that 4-minute mark is one of my absolute favorite parts of this song. And I just really enjoy this, but it could definitely be more than one song. It could be 2 songs or 3 songs, but it's a carousel, I guess, of songs. I'm not sure what they mean by that title, but very enjoyable. I actually like this one a lot. And then song number 6 is called All of My Love. Now, this one's heartbreaking. And I'm sure as a Led Zeppelin fan that Robert Plant's son had passed away when he was, I think, 5 years old. And this was a song to him. And so it's rather sad, but it's a good song. It's a very, very good song. But it's definitely not a love song in a traditional sense. It's a very sad song written to his 5-year-old son that he actually died of a stomach virus. Just completely sad, but it's one of the 2 songs on the album that actually wasn't credited to Page, and the other one was Southbound, Saurez. But All of My Love is definitely one of the stronger songs on the album, and I really enjoy it, but again, sad. And then actually the last song, again, very small or very short album when it comes to tracks, is I'm Gonna Crawl. Okay, this one starts with keyboards again from Jones, and it's got a nice 60s soul sounding track, which doesn't really start out sounding like Led Zeppelin, but it's great and well done and has nice transitions from verse to chorus. And I really enjoy this one. It's a very good track. As you can see, there's really not a whole lot I can say about this album. It's got some good tracks. I really enjoy it. It's still Led Zeppelin. Quality's great. It just, the creativeness is not there. The creativity just didn't happen. And, you know, maybe if Plant and John Paul Jones were able to record another album, it would have been much better. You know, maybe it's just because Page usually writes all these songs and he contributes and he is a huge part of the process, and he just wasn't here because of his addiction. So you can't really fault John Paul Jones and Page. Actually, you could say, hey, actually a really nice effort on their part, but they definitely needed one more element that to kind of cool it up a little bit, because they definitely it just wasn't their best. So, but anyway, so overall, my thoughts about this album is it was just all over the place, and it jumped back and forth between different sounds and ideas, and it just wasn't very cohesive because of that. So it really felt more like a compilation album, kind of like Coda. You know, they just kind of did a bunch of stuff and just threw it on an album, but there was so much potential for this album. I keep saying that, but I think it would have been a really good album if it had a little bit more direction. But, you know, again, you know, All of My Love, Carouselambra, Fool in the Rain, In the Evening, it has some really good stuff on there, and I really appreciate that. But that's going to be it. That's the album that I wanted to review today. That's going to be the number 8 Led Zeppelin ranked album. So that's it for the album. Those are my thoughts. That's why it's going to be at number 8, because of the reasons that I gave. And from here on out, number 7 through number 1, it's going to be much, much, much better. Coda, In Through the Outdoor really were the weakest albums I think that they had, but it's going to get much, much better. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very big fan of Jimmy Page. His guitar play is just not my favorite, but it's definitely very good. And there are songs that I love how he plays guitar, so don't get upset with me. Just keep coming back, and I'll have plenty of good things to say about him. But I want to pause real quick before I end the video and talk about my sponsor, which is Holly Carter. She's the senior vacation consultant with a company called the Magic for Less Travel. She specializes in Disney World trips, because Disneyland's not open, Universal, and also cruises. So if you want to go ahead and start planning a vacation for this year, it's a new year, so let's give ourselves something to really look forward to. So scan the QR code on the screen, and it'll take you to where you can get a completely no obligation quote. You can tell her what you want, and she'll come back with some ideas of what would fit your needs the best and how much that would be for you. So Holly Carter, senior vacation consultant with the Magic for Less Travel, she's one of the best. You won't be sorry. But anyway, that's going to be it for my video this week. Make sure you come back next week so we can talk about the number 7 Led Zeppelin video. If you want to follow me, I'm definitely, like I said last time, I'm ramping up my Instagram. So it's at Red Mug Music. Also, I've got my website that's going that I don't really do a whole lot with, and I'm thinking about letting that go after the contract runs out. But if you want to go there, it's at redmugmusic.com. So don't forget to subscribe, click on the bell, so whenever I have a new video, you'll be the first to find out. And I would definitely appreciate that. That's definitely the biggest and best way you can support this channel. So anyway, that's it for this week. I appreciate you all hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next week.